Good morning. I have with me members of the Equitas Society. The president and the man that is making it all happen is Jim Scott. He is the father of Dan Scott, a brave soldier that got hurt in Afghanistan.
Well, thank you very much. And the Equitas Society is very pleased to be in Ottawa so that we can present our case to the Standing House Committee on Veterans Affairs. We have found that all veterans that are returning from the Afghan conflict and other soldiers that are having claims under the new Veterans Charter have problems with their compensation, whether they be severely disabled, moderately, or partially. In the case of my son, he was sustained injuries on the battlefield where he lost his kidney, his spleen, part of his pancreas, and it was received $41,000. No other programs came into play. We find that this is disproportionately low, and we are very pleased that the law firm Miller Thompson took on the case of representing soldiers with disabilities under the new Veterans Charter pro bono and representing their legal interests through the court system. I introduce to you Don Srocken.
Thank you very much. I got introduced to this issue by a neighbor who came across and said that his son had suffered a serious injury in Afghanistan. His legs were crushed, and he came in to see me, and I was shocked to learn how little he was being compensated. A lawyer down the hall from me had just done a slip and fall case for a supermarket, and the person for spraining an ankle in a supermarket got approximately 10 times as much that a person with crushed legs did in Afghanistan. So I took a look at this and decided that there was a need to challenge the actual legislation, challenge the appropriateness of the new Veterans Charter. And to do that, we have advanced some arguments based on the social covenant that has been recognized for some considerable period of time as a commitment between Canada and its veterans. And we have said that this social covenant should be enforced and has constitutional effect by virtue of the concept of the honor of the crown. Now, typically the honor of the crown to date has only been used in Aboriginal cases, but we believe that the concept of the honor of the crown should apply to the social covenant because these men and women have in some cases given their lives and often given their bodies for our country. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Barry. I'm one of the 6 plaintiffs in the class action Equitas case. I'm here today to speak for all the veterans that have been impacted by this legislation that have not had the opportunity to reach out and speak. I've dealt with post-traumatic stress disorder myself. I've gone down the road of addiction and come back on the other side. And one of the major impacts on my life was the lump sum payment system of the new Veterans Charter. It was an absolutely debilitating part of my story. I felt abandoned by my government, betrayed. We'd been taught from the moment you join the military that if you get hurt, you'll be taken care of, and that's simply not the case under the new Veterans Charter. So with the events of the last couple of weeks, with the suicides of 4 members of the Canadian Forces while serving and countless others that have gone down that road over the last number of years, it becomes ever more critical for us to deal with this in a timely fashion instead of allowing our sons and daughters to suffer needlessly under legislation that quite frankly was wrong from the outset. So we appreciate your time here today. Thank you.
I'm good for speaking. I'll introduce myself. All right. A little nervous. My name's Aaron Bedard. I served on Task Force 106, the first major combat tour in Kandahar. On April 19th of that tour, I drove over an anti-tank mine. Everyone was helo-evac'd out of that area, except for myself. I stayed for the entirety of the tour, but when I got back, I was ordered to finally go get myself checked out and stop being a hero. So I have a traumatic brain injury and spinal and nerve damage, and I did my best to stick with the military, but within a couple of years it was recognized that I should release. Developed some post-traumatic stress disorder and went down a dark path with that. Released 2010 and just trying to find some way to carry on in my life and find some purpose. With the lump sum payout, it's something that's locked up in an apartment that I got right now. Moved into a new house recently, and the apartment still hasn't sold for a year and a half, and so that's where my lump sum payout is. And when I heard about the Equitas Society, it really filled in some information that I was never privy to being in the forces, and hearing stories about other guys that troops that have limbs missing that are only getting the 250 to 300,000 lump sum one-time payout. And when I hear about WCB payouts for industrial accidents, people working on Civvy Street that are getting anywhere from 1.6 million to 3 million, who knows, for wrongdoing or bad managing, what have you, it's a very glaring difference. And so it's a nervous thing to have post-traumatic stress disorder and come to the capital here, but there's 99% of fellows out there scared, and so people like myself and Glenn there and Kevin, we're trying to take some leadership on making sure that our friends who are still serving, who can't speak, we're trying to support them up here. So thank you.
My name's Glenn Kirkland, and this is a stressful situation for everyone that's been wounded over in Afghanistan. A lot of the gentlemen and men and women that have served can't talk now because they have taken their lives recently, and this is a direct result of not being supported by our government. We need long-term compensation, not a quick fix of the lump sum award. It's not working. It's clearly not working. Everyone's decided it's not working, but yet the politicians haven't done anything about it yet. As a Canadian soldier, we deserve better. The men and women in uniform shouldn't be killing themselves. I've been talking to mothers of some of the deceased, and it's disheartening. It's as a Canadian citizen, we are letting the men and women in uniform down. Thank you.
Any questions?
To get your response, a number of you, perhaps some from the soldiers and some from legal. The Veterans Affairs Minister, Julian Fantino, announced that he's going to have a House of Commons committee study what the social and legal obligation Canada has towards its veterans. And I'm wondering how that development affects, if at all, the action being taken here. And is there any comfort in that, or what's your reaction?
I'll let Don Sorokin address this because Don was able to bring this before the courts recently, and this is what has spawned this debate. There is a piece of legislation called the Crown Liability and Proceeding Act, which prevents soldiers from suing the government on issues of monetary benefits. Don has been able to go to a higher authority, which is this social covenant, to seek redress in the courts.
Jim's son is an example of a person, if he had been injured in any context other than as a member of the military, he would have been able to sue. His injuries were caused by acts of negligence that were found to be crimes by military courts. So in the United Kingdom now, you're able to sue. You're able to sue the government. I don't think that a soldier for negligence of people on the field of battle. My own personal view is that that's not desirable. You don't want a relationship of commanding officers where they have to worry that their troops are going to sue them all the time. But at the other hand, if you're going to set up a scheme of things where the payout is a fraction of what the normal citizen should get, could get, does get daily in the courts and in the workers' compensation schemes, why should it be less for those that are serving us, those that are deliberately putting their lives and bodies at risk for our country? Now, I've heard people say that they're going to look at things, but all too often the other excuse is, well, we're spending X million dollars or X dollars. I don't know how they're spending it, but I can tell you every day of the week, I will get up to 10 calls a day from veterans from all across Canada that just cannot cope, and their wives and their families that cannot cope with the amount of money that is getting down to them. The lump sum payment to a young man often ends up in a pickup truck. That isn't going to support that person when they need to continue to exist. And we don't want to find the situation where we are walking down our streets and we see our veterans sleeping on sidewalks.
Fantino's saying he's going to find out exactly what the social and legal obligation. I mean, could that perhaps alleviate some of the concerns if they do find that perhaps it's greater than the government has now?
They were quite content about what their obligation was under the Pension Act for every group of veterans up to this group of veterans. The Pension Act provided a certain safety net for veterans. It's been in place since the First World War. They deliberately changed it. They changed it for economic reasons. So the proof is in the pudding. We have to give the benefit of the doubt to the minister to say that he will honestly reassess this and do what is in the best interest of veterans. And we'll wait and see. But we're not going to stop the lawsuit while that goes on. If you want to know what the legal obligations are, we can wait for the courts to decide that. But Parliament can also take proactive steps to try to solve the problem before the many, many years that it will take to wind this case through the courts.
Some of the veterans on that? What are some of your thoughts? Mr. said, I mean, a House of Commons committee studying this, does that bring you any comfort at all?
The lump sum's been a contentious issue from the day it was brought in 2006. Veterans, for the most part, especially the younger veterans that are impacted by it, have been saying what a raw deal it is and have been saying how inadequate it is. I have friends that have taken the steps of attempting to take their own lives due to the financial hardship that has come to pass. These are fathers of young children. I've had friends who have taken the advice that was initially given with the lump sum to invest it and saw their savings wiped out during the 2008 market crash. A lump sum or a Pension Act payment, the idea of it is to support the veteran to compensate for their pain and suffering throughout the rest of their life. And to have the government come forward and say, well, this is all you get and that's it and our obligation is done, that it flies in the face of 86 years of veterans compensation from the First World War until when this new Veterans Charter was brought in. And for myself, I mean, looking at the two systems side by side, I mean, my compensation was less than a sixth of what it would have been under the old system. So you compare that and you expect us to feel some sense of, I don't know, that things are going to get better because the minister has ordered a review. But I mean, it's a biannual review built into the new Veterans Charter anyway. I mean, this is something that would have happened in a matter of months anyway, had the minister not initiated it. Now, as far as the seeking guidance from Parliament on the role of the the social covenant and that, I mean, as Don said, I mean, the courts will get to it eventually, but in the last 2 weeks we've had 4 suicides of serving members. These are problems that are happening right now. Lives are hanging in the balance, and more reviews and more time wasted is more lives wasted. And frankly, the answers are fairly clear. They're not the economically cheap variety that the government would like to see, but they are the right variety, and they can't put a price on everything. And frankly, that would alleviate a great deal of stress for Canada's serving and retired veterans to address the lump sum right away.
People who are not familiar with, how it should be, some would say, well, how do you put a price on a leg or on a body part or on an operational stress injury? There's a lot of talk about the new Veterans Charter and reforming it. So what's the ultimate goal here? I mean, what would be fair?
I think